What up, world? It's your boy VXL, and this is the Ridin Durty show where we bridge the gap between hip-hop and everyday life, man. What's up? What's up? Beautiful, beautiful Saturday morning. Hopefully everyone is staying corona-free. The coronavirus is still out there. Y'all definitely keep your continue to do your social distancing and living well and enjoying each other. Now is a great time to spend time with your family and, you know, hey man, reinstill that family love and do your family thing. All right. So again, gotta say one time for our sponsors, man. One time for the good people over at WeBlazingHipHop.com, the internet's #1 hip hop and R&B station. Gotta say one time for the good people over at WRFG 89.3 FM, as well as gotta say one time for the good people over at the emcee Shirt Company. All right, the emcee Shirt Company design shirts. Create shirts with you in mind, all right? Create shirts with you in mind. They're designed for you to rep who you are and what you represent. Make sure you visit them. Again, make sure you visit them at the emceeshirt.com, all right? That's the emceeshirt.com. Find out how you can get that goodness in your life, all right? All right, man, today is Saturday, March the 21st. I got a lot of birthdays I got to go over real quick, so let's get into it. Gotta say happy birthday to Diggy Simmons, the son of Reverend Run of Run DMC. Diggy Simmons turns 25 years old today. Definitely gotta say happy birthday to Mr. Diggy Simmons. Also got to say happy birthday to, man, this man's like, oh man, he's definitely still going. Gotta say happy birthday to running back Adrian Peterson. Definitely got to say happy birthday to running back Adrian Peterson. He turned 35 years old today. Gotta say happy birthday to Battle MC great. He's now wilding out, my man Charlie Clips. Charlie Clips turns 33 years old today. Gotta say happy birthday to former rapper. Y'all might not know he was a rapper, but Mr. Kevin Federline. He had kids by Britney Spears. He was her backup dancer, but he also rapped. He's 42 years old today. Gotta say happy birthday to producer Hit Boy. Hit Boy turns 33 years old today. Gotta say happy birthday to my man LP, Large Professor. Large Professor turns 47 years old today. Gotta say happy birthday to one of the original Outlaws, my man Young Noble. Young Noble turns 42 years old today. Gotta say happy birthday to legendary female MC representing that Memphis, Tennessee, LaChat. LaChat turns 42 years old today, as well as gotta say happy birthday to former member of Boogie Down Productions, the ex-wife of KRS-One, Miss Melody. May she rest in peace, but Miss Melody will be 51 years old today. And as I flip to my Facebook page, I gotta say happy birthday to one of the dopest DJs, if not the dopest DJ in the Middle Georgia area. Actually, I don't even want to say the Middle Georgia area, but I gotta say happy birthday to my man DJ Smooth. My man DJ Smooth has definitely been breaking artists in the Middle Georgia area for years, but he's not just a Middle Georgia DJ. But definitely happy birthday to him. And last but not least, I gotta say happy birthday to one of the hardest working guys I know, who's always done his thing on the business side and the music side, my man, the Real Dirty. All right, now, I just gave you guys celebrity birthdays. Let's see what's going on in hip-hop news. One time for my man Drake, since it's coming back, everybody who's testing positive for the coronavirus, well, Drake say he self-quarantined himself, and he took a test, and he tested negative. So my man Drake does not have the coronavirus. Also, gotta say one time, my man Ice Cube, you know, with all the sports being shut down and the Big 3 new season is right upon us, they're launching a quarantine TV tournament. That's right. The Big 3 is slated to still be on air, and they will have a quarantine TV tournament. So one time to the Big 3 for definitely keeping it going and keeping it visual and giving us some sports to watch. So I can't wait to see that. This is bad news for my man Fetty Wap. Y'all know Fetty Wap had the joint Trap Queen and just took the world by storm. Well, it seems he's set to lose lots and lots of money to a former tour staffer. That's right. He had this lady who was working for him, and she sued him for over 7 figures because she was helping to promote and work on his tour, and she said she was never paid. And a lot of time, she even footed the bill out her own pocket. And we gotta say, hope we'll see you soon. My man Freddie Gibbs My man Freddie Gibbs has been banned from Instagram over a lot of wild posts that he's had when it comes to the coronavirus, religion, the community, just a lot of things, man. He's just been going outrageous, getting stupid, and Freddie Gibbs have been banned from Instagram. Hopefully we'll see you soon, Mr. Freddie Gibbs. Your fans will definitely miss you. All right. So I just gave you my sponsors. I gave you celebrity birthdays. I gave you hip hop news. Now it's time for me to give you what I enjoy giving you most. And that's the people on the street, the people in the community, the people that are definitely doing their thing when it comes to moving and shaking. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Ridin Durty platform. Queen's own rapper, Nad3r. What's going on, my G?
Yo, what's up, man? What's up? Straight from Queens, baby. You know how it is.
Man, you know, anytime I think of Queens and I hear Queens rappers, I think of their famous line, Queens run you niggas, man. Hey, man, welcome to the show. The first thing, even though we said you're from Queens, let the world know where you're from. Make sure I did pronounce your name correctly, and what made you decide to get into the music game.
Yeah, you can pronounce my name anywhere. It's really pronounced Nad3r, though. But, yeah, man, I'm from Queens, New York, born and raised here. Pretty much lived here my whole life, and that's that. But what got me into music? Man, I've been listening to music since I was, maybe a fucking year old, And the first experience I had with music was, I would say, Michael Jackson's Thriller album and the Bee Gees. My father was straight from the 80s, so he would play those CDs for us all the time, going back and from school. Got introduced to hip-hop, though, by my father. He had bought Get Rich or Die Trying, the Sen album. He had just flashed it. It was the edited version then because I was probably around, 7 or 6 years old. Man, that album changed my whole life. Getting into that, I started to explore, who brought 50 on the scene, which was Eminem. And my relationship with Eminem's music, lasted a whole lifetime because, M was the type of rapper that was able to really not care about anything he said on a record. And quite frankly, got away with it. But through that, he was able to, I believe, help a lot of his fans. Because, going through hardships in life and at least for me, which we'll get into in a bit, being able to put on an Eminem record and just listen to it, it's helped me get through a lot of things. Not saying other rappers haven't done that for me. I'm just saying it all started with M. So I owe that to 50, though, because hearing 50's album brought me to Eminem. So, yeah.
No doubt. What's it like growing up in New York, the birthplace of hip-hop, and is that a heavy stigma to have to carry?
Yeah, man. I mean, growing up in New York is it's a hustle and bustle. Everyone's always moving. There's always there's major competition out here in any industry, not just the music industry, but any business you get into out here, man. There's always one person trying to one up you. There's never much time for to relax and to really just kind of try your best to enjoy whatever it is you're doing. You're always trying to one up someone, or you're always trying to you're always on the fly, and that does impact whatever you end up doing, not just in the music side of things, but in any business, like I said. I think that as far as the music though, I think there's a lot of competition, not just in Queens, but in the whole New York, and it does impact your style. You especially coming I started writing when I was probably around 10 or 11. And, obviously it's a process in seeing how you change in your writing format, but also how you make music. And I think obviously your surroundings definitely impact that, I think that, coming from a New York area, especially Queens, there's a certain standard you got to live up to. And there's a certain thing, certain type of music people want to hear, And if you don't cater to it, unfortunately, I mean, I'm not saying that there are people that stick to their guns and really especially underground rappers that stick to their, their styles. But if you really want to break through, I feel like these days people have to adjust to what people want to hear. And definitely, especially in a place like New York, that definitely impacts the way you make music.
All right, now, it kind of shocks me that the heavy Eminem influence, but being from the East Coast. Who are some of the East Coast artists that inspired you?
East Coast, definitely Nas is a big one for me. Just probably I'd say Nas is the biggest influence, and bigger than probably on the same level, Mobb Deep, the group Mobb Deep. Listen to a lot of them, and then obviously I mentioned 50 earlier. 50 and the whole G Unit. I think still hands down one of my favorite albums aside from Get Rich or Die Trying was Beg for Mercy by G Unit. So that was a big heavy influence for me as well.
All right, no doubt. All right, now when people hear your music and hear your sound, what do you want them to take from you as an artist?
I want people, as I generally release more music and more music, I want people to be able to indulge in the music and get lost in the music and truly just, it's more of a feeling than a saying, right? It's not just what I'm saying in the music, it's a feeling that they can get from it. And whether it be, you know, angry or sad or any feeling they're having, I want them to be able to listen to it and truly just feel that emotion coming in them and understanding that it's okay to feel that emotion. You know, that's what M did for me, like I said earlier, and that's what I want to do for people, right? So that's what I want people to take away from the music. It's not just the words, it's definitely the vibes and the feeling, you know?
No doubt. Definitely. All right. Being an independent artist, and a lot of people don't realize how hard and complicated it is when they first decide to get in the game. What are some of the challenges you faced as an independent artist?
Well, definitely a big challenge, I would say. It's plain and simple for any independent artist. It's just getting out there, right? It's networking as much as you can with bigger influencers and getting your music to be heard by a general mass in the public, right? Like, you know, I think that there are so many talented rappers. You just had one on your show, you know, a couple of days ago that we just listened to his music. I forgot his name, emcee. I forgot exactly what it was. But you just interviewed him, and I think the guy's tremendous. I think he's really talented.
Exile.
After listening to a couple of tracks. Say it again?
Exile.
Yeah, Exile. I mean, I think he's tremendous and he's talented, and I think that if you put his music out in a larger amount of people and they listen to it, I think people would really bump it. But I think the problem is, as an independent artist, you're not given the same platforms that obviously people under record labels are. People under record labels are not just getting, you know, the funds to support their journey in this music industry, but they're also, you know, put on the biggest spotlight. So they're put on the radio or they're put on the news. And it's not just about the music anymore. It's become a lifestyle, right? You just mentioned a story about Drake earlier, about not having the coronavirus. That has nothing to do with his music, but people are just really, they want to know about what's going on, you know, with their favorite artists. It has nothing to do with just what they're crafting anymore. It has to do with their whole lifestyle. Drake goes and buys a new pair of Gucci shoes. People want to dress the same way. And it's like, I think, you know, people do that because these artists are constantly put in front of people's faces. And I'm not saying I'm opposed to whatever music's coming out there right now, but I'm saying, you know, our era or the way the industry's set up from what I'm seeing is that, you know, big record labels will fund a artist they truly see that they can make money off of, put them in front of a group of people, whether the music's good or not, and if you put something in front of someone's face long enough, they're going to indulge it, you know? So that's what I would say the biggest issue for an independent artist. And believe me, being around a lot of independent artists, I can tell you a lot of these people have a lot of talent, you know, but they just aren't, they either don't have the funds or they don't have the connections to get them to where they need to be. And I think that if you put some of these people, myself included, in front of the right person at the right time, you know, it would work out the way most people that are blowing up right now are. So I would say that's the biggest challenge as an independent artist.
All right. Do you think fans and consumers care about independent artists, or do you think most fans and consumers are sheep and they wait for it to blow up?
Well, I would say I would never categorize everyone as one thing. I mean, I believe there are a group of people for the independent artists. I believe that there are actually many people that go on platforms like SoundCloud or that are catered for the independent artists. And a lot of these people actually help independent artists blow up, right? But, you know, there are, of course, the people that, you know, will generally stick to the radio and listen to what's on the radio, and that's what gets them going. And, hey, all power to anyone with many decisions they make. But, you know, there are certain types of fans. There are certain types of people that, you know, I believe a true fan of hip-hop and a true fan or a lover of music might venture off and listen to the independent artists, or maybe even primarily listen to independent artists and underground music. And then obviously there's the other group of people, like I said earlier, that will just indulge in the radio and listen to the radio, and that's what it is, and that's what fuels them. And they don't really leave that circle of artists that are blown up. It is what it is. That's just kind of how the way people are, you know? It's like, same thing with movies, right? There's independent movies that people will really get into, and people will know every independent movie out there, and then there are people that just watch the Hollywood blockbusters. That's really what it is.
No doubt. When did you realize that you had a talent for the music?
When did I realize I had a talent for music? I don't know. I hate to use the word talent, right? I think that I realized that I had a passion to create a certain sound that I can release my emotions on. That really would just help me get better. Probably at a younger age, like I said, or 11 or 10 or 11, when I started, you know, I really started off by memorizing other rappers' lines. So if you put on like Many Men by 50 Cent, I would just rap along to it, and it just became like realizing that I could do that, and a lot of people around me couldn't keep up, or couldn't understand, or couldn't have that same precise flow on it. I was just like, all right, so at least I could do that. And then I started writing my own lyrics, and quite frankly, I'm not gonna lie, 11-year-old kid writing rap, like, they're not gonna be great, right? But you know, you kind of craft you kind of work on your skill set, and you know, it hit a certain point, because I've been through a lot in my life. You know, I've ran multiple businesses in New York, and I've done a lot of things on the aside from music. So it hit a point where I actually just one day wrote a song and kind of just showed it to a bunch of my friends, and then they told me that I should record it. It's just a couple of years ago, and I did, and it had a certain sound to it, and I just kept working on it, you know, probably around until I released my first single, which came out in November. January rather. We just released it. But that was when I felt like, okay, this is something I'm okay with presenting to the world, and I felt confident enough to present it to the world. But it's an ongoing process, you know. Everything it's a complete evolution of your craft. It keeps moving and it keeps going forward.
All right, let's talk about the name. Why'd you choose that name to represent you as an MC?
Well, Nad3r is actually my name. But the reason why I have a 3 instead of an E is I see the world in threes. I mean, in my religion, like I'm a Muslim, so the number 3 is a very important number. We usually pray in threes. You know, we usually recite like prayers in threes, and honestly, like, I have a big reason too. I have a brother, a mother, and a father. That's 3 people in my family. So the number 3 for me is like it's a big thing, especially on a religious side. So that's why I put the 3 in the name.
Okay. All right. How does your family feel about you pursuing music?
Well, my family's extremely supportive in anything I do. I've generally made, when it comes to business, right decisions. So they're very confident in my business abilities and anything I choose to do. They definitely, my mom probably wouldn't listen to some of the stuff I said on a record, but very supportive for sure. From my brother to my mother to my father and all my friends. So I couldn't ask for a better group. You know?
All right. Speaking of group, let's talk about the importance of having the right people around you when it comes to building a career or a business.
Sure. I mean, I think having people around you in general that are positive and just supportive in anything you do is very important. You know, I have struggled with a lot of personal issues that have been caused by having the wrong people around me. So I think, though, from a business perspective, or from in the music business, at least we'll use that primarily, right? I truly believe that, you know, you need to really trust who you're going to align yourself with. And it's not just a matter of saying, okay, this guy's going to be my manager because he can get it done because he has the right connections. But if you don't trust that person, or you really can't relay what you're thinking and what you're really feeling at that moment, or just trust them and kind of just literally, you know, what decisions they think would be right for your career, I mean, it's just not going to go anywhere. I think that you need to have the right amount of support from the people around you, and I think you also have to have the right amount of trust within your camp to excel in this business. Because, you know, I've seen, at the beginning at least, you know, I tried to surround myself with anyone that came along that was showing us support, but not really fully analyzing the intentions behind it. And as if you do that, or at least from my experience when I did that, it doesn't really end well. So, you know, right now, my manager happens to be my best friend. So he's just constantly always there. And, you know, anything I basically need help or advice on, he's always there for me. And I trust him with my life, not just my music life, but I just really just genuinely trust him all around. So that's what I think in terms of who you align yourself with. You just really got to be careful, because it really would end in a sour or bad way if you're just looking at one angle when hiring someone on your team or putting someone on your team. If you're just looking at the angle, which is very enticing, of, okay, this person can really push my business or push my music out there quickly and get me in front of people that I feel like I need to be in front of, yeah, that's great. But what's behind that? You know, it's a business. Everyone wants something from it. It's just, does this person really want to see you grow and continue with you for the next 10, 15, 20 years plus? Or does this person want a quick couple of bucks and then whatever, you know? So you got to be careful.
Right. All right. Now, you mentioned some of the challenges in your life, and you've mentioned it more than once. What are some of the things that you've been through? I'm very curious now, because you've said it multiple times in this interview.
Well, yeah, for sure. So I've had a really, really good, lucky kind of life in terms of how much success and progress I've made at a very young age. In terms of whatever, I ran a real estate brokerage. I was buying and selling houses like crazy. But with that, I've actually suffered from alcoholism and drug addiction heavily. Since the age of 14, I've been using from alcohol to cocaine to benzos, you name it. I probably used it. Aside from heroin, never touched that. But I've suffered greatly with that. It was definitely it definitely cost me a lot in my life. It's definitely pushed me to have some setbacks in my life. I've lost a lot of relationships, a lot of friendships, overdosed multiple times, was supposed to well, literally died for, a couple of minutes on end at one point. And, I'm really grateful to have been through all that stuff and to have had this disease on me, because it definitely does open your eyes and kind of like shows you what's important and what to be grateful for in your life, even just the littlest things. But it also kind of trains you to like not take things for granted, and to definitely like whatever I really need to do at this point, or I really want to do rather, it's something that I should be able to really put my time towards it. So that definitely was a really, really big setback. Obviously I've seen a lot of things growing up, been through a lot of traumatic events, and suffer with a lot more things. I have a high, mid-level PTSD from some events I've been through, but which obviously led to substance abuse. So, but yeah, that's a big thing that's held me back. But some may look at it as a negative. I at this point look at it as a positive. And I know that God has a purpose for me, because I should have been out multiple times in my life, and for some reason I keep waking up. So there must be a reason.
No doubt, no doubt. So look, let's talk a little bit about social media and the internet and how that can affect the career of a new artist.
Yeah, so that's one thing I'm actually lacking. I'm not even going to lie, man. Social media at this point has become way more important than music itself, I feel like, which to me is terrible. But that's because I grew up in an era where music was based on the quality of the sound as opposed to
90 seconds.
The lifestyle of an artist. But I think social media plays all the impact in a musician or a rapper rather's career. I feel like there are artists that I see have millions of followers that I've never even heard a track of in my life. Like, I've never even heard of who this person is. And when you look at their posts, none of their posts
60 seconds.
have their music in it. It's really just short clips of them doing something that mass amounts of people might find funny or entertaining or whatever the case may be. And I feel like that's where the industry is shifting. I feel like people are using platforms like Instagram, like TikTok, little less of Facebook now, but mostly Instagram and TikTok to really engage their fan base with it, like in their lives. And I feel like the fans are somewhat more intrigued by the lives of the artists as opposed to the actual music by the artists, because some fans that follow these people might not even like the artist's music, and you can see that on all the negative comments and stuff like that, but they follow still, and that's still money in an artist's pocket.
10
There's
seconds.
still money off Instagram or TikTok at the end of the day. So, I feel like that's where this industry is shifting to. And like I mentioned earlier in the interview, you take, all these, most fans are now watching what the artists are doing and want to kind of replicate that within their lives to feel some sort of, I don't know what it is, probably some sense of fulfillment or some sense of acceptance. But, you go out and you see maybe your favorite artist buying a pair of certain shoes or certain clothing or doing a certain thing. It is definitely translating into the fans for replicating that in their lives. And I guess the last thing I'll say about social media is in a positive light, though, because a lot of the things I said was kind of maybe would be taken in a negative light from the consumer base. But I think in a positive light, though, it is allowing artists to showcase their music, though. So, for example, you take a big influencer that's very well known for making Instagram, videos, not an artist, but an Instagram celebrity, we call them, right? If they're able to showcase a clip of your song in their video, in their 30 or 15-second video, it puts it in the face of a lot of potential fans, and that definitely does, help people discover new artists. And at that point, if the song is, I call it usually catchy songs, usually are what blow up first, right, for the artist. So if it's catchy enough, I guess, it might stick with a group of people that will then spread it on their pages and so on and so forth. So it's really like this whole domino effect. You have a big, celebrity, not all the time, but in a lot of cases, you have a big celebrity or a group of people on TikTok creating certain kind of videos that cater to this one song, and then it just keeps going, and then sooner or later, like you take Lil Nas X, that's kind of what happened with him, right, with the Old Town Road, or yeah. So that kind of all happened because of TikTok. I think there was a challenge that was put out with that song being played in it, and that just made that song blow up, and that became a huge, huge success. So, it can be very useful, but there's two sides to it. It's useful for the music aspect, yes, to showcase your skills and your music, but it also becomes, sometimes a little less about the music and more about the lifestyle of the artist. So it's kind of a negative and positive thing at the same time, if that makes sense.
All right, so look, let's talk about this record we're about to play.
All right.
The title is,
let's talk about it.
The title is God Bless America, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me a little bit about it, the concept, and who produced it.
All right, so basically the concept of the song, so it's actually a pretty fitting time to play it, right? Especially with everything that's going on with this coronavirus and the way people are feeling. But the video is really what fuels the song. It's kind of my view on what, at least the video, of how America not only treats its, other people around the world and other countries around the world, but its own children, which are us, right? I think the video would speak to a lot of people, particularly in this time, and I think it's definitely something worth watching. As far as the song goes, though, it's the taker's perspective on who's talking to who and who's saying what, whether it's America talking to us or us talking to America or America talking to its allies or enemies. So that's kind of the listener's perspective on that. But as far as the video goes, it's my view on what, especially at the time it was released, which was in January, on what was going on. And the video kind of highlights things from how America treats, like I said, its children, all the way to the Jeffrey Epstein kind of whole scenario that played out earlier. So, and that's still playing out, that people forgot about because of this whole coronavirus spread. So, but yeah, Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself. But anyways, that's my take on it.
All right, so look, do me a favor. I'm going to want you to introduce this record to the world. But before you do, let them know how to find you when it comes to the World Wide Web and the internet and things like that.
All right, well, definitely on Instagram, you can look up Nad3r. That's Later, Nad3r. And then on YouTube, you can look up, obviously, just Nad3r, Nad3r. We do have the video up on the channel above all. So definitely go check out the video on YouTube. And I'm ready to introduce this record, man. It's some hot record. It's hot shit, bro, and let's just play it.
All right, appreciate it, my G.
All right, man. Thanks a lot, bro. Why you trying to talk all that hard shit?
Why you trying to talk all that hard shit? Why you trying to talk all that hard shit? Why you trying to talk all that hard shit? Yeah, you trying to talk all that hard shit? Leaving dead bodies in the mosh pit. When you talk, you ain't really hard shit. Leaving blood stains on the carpet. Boom. Yeah, you trying to talk all that hard shit? Leaving dead bodies in the mosh pit. When you talk, you ain't really hard shit. Leaving blood stains on the carpet. Boom. Give a fucking hard that I'm just a bust. Every single night I fuck a different hoe. Hard shit. Why you acting stupid though? You ain't got no bands if you can't buy a boat. Fucking with my mans in the rug sketcher. Leave your man's body in the sewer with you. I'm trying to get some heads like a bunny. Got me coming at you like a fucking audit. Fuck yo, I'm still alive. I know those suckers wanna see us die. Cause I'm bitches up from the inside. Do me wrong, come your ass in time to the phone. When you try to talk all that hard shit. Leaving dead bodies in the mosh pit. When you talk, you ain't really hard shit. Leaving blood stains on the carpet. Boom. Yeah, you try to talk all that hard shit. Leaving dead bodies in the mosh pit. When you talk, you ain't really hard shit. Leaving blood stains on the carpet. Boom. Fight. I just wanna fight. I just wanna fight. Fuck around. With a fuck around. Better guard your life. Oh, shut. Yeah, I fucked your bitch. I'm your bitch type. Dead bodies in the mosh pit. Get this party right. All the ones that hate it, now I'm my dick. Listen on your grave, you still my bitch. Hard break, break it up and cross, bitch. Hard shit, one hit think you fall shit. Main bitch, but I fuck that different woman. Beast mode, don't forget to try to hit him. Fuck the bullshit, on the same shit. Fuck the fame shit, nah, I will never change, bitch. When you try to talk all that hard shit. Leaving dead bodies in the mosh pit. When you talk, you ain't really hard shit. Leaving blood stains on the carpet. Boom. Yeah, you try to talk all that hard shit. Leaving dead bodies in the mosh pit. When you talk, you ain't really hard shit. Leaving blood stains on the carpet. Boom.
Alright, that was my guy Nad3r. Alright, it's yours truly, Big XL Ridin Durty Radio. We check you guys out later. Peace.
Thank you for